The moral responsibility of individuals, and that we make our own happiness or
I come with baggage. Face it, how many of us don't have baggage? This one took off.
That's a good one to take off.
Be nice.
You all see this? Well, you will. You'll get to know my baggage and hopefully connect with some of yours. But before I get started, I have a story to share. Kind of lighten up the mood, raise the energy, I hope. It's about Forrest Gump passing away and going to heaven. So Forrest Gump goes through the pearly gates, and St. Peter's is sitting there and says to Forrest, "Forrest, we welcome you to heaven. But before you could walk through the pearly gates, you have to take a test." And Forrest says, "Geez, I didn't know I had to take a test." St. Peter says, "It's easy. There's only 3 questions. The first question is, name 2 days of the week that start with the letter T. The second question is, how many seconds are in a year? And the third question is, what's God's first name?" So Forrest goes out, takes some time to himself, comes back the next day, and he appears to St. Peter. "Sir, I'm ready to take my test." St. Peter says, "Great. So, what are the 2 days of the week that start with the letter T?" Forrest says, "Today and tomorrow." St. Peter says, "Not exactly the answer I was looking for, but that's good and it's acceptable. So, what about the second question? How many seconds are in a year?" And Forrest says, "Well, there's 12. St. Peter says, 12? How do you figure that?" And Forrest says, "January 2nd, February 2nd. "Okay," St. Peter says, "I accept that too. It's a pretty creative answer. But the last question, what is God's first name?" Forrest says, "That's the easiest one of all. His first name is Andy." "Andy? Where's that come from?" And Forrest says, "Andy walks with me and So thank you for playing that story. It wouldn't have made sense.
Okay, all right.
Thank you. But it's all about perception, isn't it? I mean, we expected certain kind of answers when we asked the question, and depending on someone's perception of things is how they would respond. And so today, I'm going to talk about our baggage. These are mine. I made myself vulnerable. I unpacked a couple of them, but I ended up with these. I have my cheat sheet up here. The first thing I want to talk about is how we handle certain situations. How many of you can relate to this? Somebody says something and you're kind of offended, but you figured, I'll let it go, no big deal. Does anybody relate to that? Like, I'm going through this, yeah, no big deal. Can I see a show of hands? I actually need a volunteer up here, so who would like to come up here and join me for just a little while? Would you?
Sure.
Okay.
You're not quick enough, Amy.
I'm going to put you in this chair. Right here. This is a cup of water. Here's what I'd like you to do. Hold your arms straight out. This water represents that little grudge, where we just say, I'm going to blow it off. It's not a big deal. And I want you to hold it. Arms straight out. Okay. And what's your name again so everybody knows?
Amy.
Amy. Everybody, this is Amy. Is that heavy?
No, but it's going to be.
Well, wait a second. You just said you're going to brush it off. It's okay. It's not going to get... Didn't she say that, right?
Yeah.
So this is a situation that you're just going to blow off for a little while. So for right now, I'm going to leave you right there.
All right.
Okay. The first bag
Didn't know you were going to get a
first
workout
baggage
today.
is lack of approval. How many of us seek other people's approval for who we are today? Anybody? Yeah. We seek approval of our friends. We seek approval of our family. But do we seek approval of ourselves? Are we okay with who we are, just as we are? I think sometimes we are our own worst critic, aren't we? We judge ourselves so hard that we never get to celebrate who we are. We never get to celebrate that moment that says, my goodness, I've made it this far, and I'm very proud of myself. Can anybody tell me they do that? Yay, I celebrate you. Because that is so important. We are our own worst critics. We put expectations on ourselves. We expect to achieve certain things. And we want other people to recognize. And oftentimes we don't recognize it ourselves. So that is our lack of approval baggage. This we'll talk about later. The second one is our dream limiters. And dream limiters are people who say, I have this huge dream, and I come and I share it with you. And you come and you say, you're never gonna make it. You need money, you need time, you ain't got any of that. How many of us dream beyond our current means?
Oh yeah.
It's
yeah.
huge. It's huge. Back home, when I first became a single mom, I could barely make ends meet. I had an infant and a toddler, and I lived in an apartment. And I had this dream. I had this dream that I wanted to own a home. I wanted to raise my children at home, in a home environment, someplace where they can have roots, you know? And my sister-in-law would say to me, Diana, you'll end up in the street in 6 months' time. You could barely put food on the table. You have all of these bills. You got childcare. How the heck are you gonna get a house? Well, those were her limitations. I didn't see them as limitations. So how many of us share our dreams with others, and rather than get the, yes, go for it, or dream beyond our means, it doesn't matter your time, your resources, or anything like that. Get out of that box. Have a dream this big. And then, best part is put it in motion and go for it. If time and resources was not an issue, what would some of your dreams be? Anybody?
Travel the world.
What's that?
Travel the world.
Travel the world. Awesome. What else?
Mine is opening my own business.
Opening your own business. What kind of business?
I make herbs and oils and jewelry.
Mm-hmm. So you'd want to have a little shop or traveling, or travel the world and sell herbs and... Great. Who else? Anybody?
Fly a plane.
What's that?
Learn to fly a plane.
Learn to fly a plane.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That is a great one. And talk about getting out of your boundaries, right? Just being able to explore and be up there and be closer to God. Almost. That's super. So the idea here is dream as big as your heart's desire. Don't allow the boundaries of where you are today limit you and what you can dream about. And so go for it. Really, really go for it. Then we fall into this one. Old habits. How can you expect to do anything new when you live in the old habits suitcase?
Doing okay over there?
It's a good thing I have a 7-month-old.
Good what?
I said it's a good thing I have a 7-month-old.
How's your issue going on here? You're holding on to it pretty well. You hiding it okay?
You
Okay.
could say that.
No, but she let it go. She's like, it's not going to bother me.
Do that face
Old
again.
habits. Old habits keep us safe, don't they? Because it's familiar territory. But how can we venture out into something new when we're in this suitcase? Recently, I moved out here from New Jersey. I'm a Jersey girl. Yay. 2 weeks before a major snowstorm.
All right, good timing.
Yeah, 32 inches. And I had recently retired from corporate America. I was a single mom, so I cared for my children, had a job, did all the stuff I'm supposed to do, and came out here to start over again, just to have a brand new life. Brand new life, clean sheet. My kids are grown, they're doing well. I retired. And then as time goes on, I realized something. I went from taking care of my children and having a corporate job to coming out west, and I take care of my mother and have a retail job. How new is that really? It's not really new. But it's what I knew and what my comfort zone is. I have the world at my feet. I have a blank sheet of, She's cheating.
My problem.
She's cheating.
She's really ready to let that go.
I have the world at my feet and a blank sheet of paper to do what I want. And what did I do? I carried this baggage around with me. How am I supposed to really refresh me? Really live who I am? Do I really know who I am if I'm not a mother and if I'm not an employee? Who am I? Who are you? Who are you if you're not playing the roles that you play? The mom, the sister, the husband, the wife, etc., etc. Who are you? And where do you find yourself so that you can live your purpose? We all look to be the same, but we're all made different. And so our purposes are all different, aren't they? We all contribute to life and this world in so many different ways. Yet we look to conform to what everybody in society and people around us say. So now is the opportunity to really break out of that and break this old habit. Before her arm falls off. Thank you, by the way.
You're very welcome.
Did you notice how she got tired?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right? How many of us feel that way when we kind of shrug things off and initially it's not going to bother me? And it sits inside of us and festers. And now what happens when they do it again? Hold out your other hand.
That's true.
Okay? But it's not going to bother me. And what happens? Eventually it does. Let that situation happen again. And you'll start thinking, it really doesn't bother me, and it festers some more. Somebody else does the same thing. It's not supposed to bother you, right? Start to really bother you. Hold out both hands. See this? Now what starts to happen? You get to a breaking point. Because you didn't speak up early enough, people started to repeat that behavior. And she gets to a breaking point. How many of us do that?
Done it
Doesn't
before.
bother us. But yet, it gets built up and tired, and it does end up having its own wear and tear on us. Unexpressed feelings come out in bigger and sometimes worse ways later on. So we need to learn to address them early. Does this make sense? Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Only because I need a sip of water. I got a group activity I'd like to try. I would like everybody to stand up. It's wonderful how we're all looking forward and you're all looking at me. So I'm going to pretend that I am your goal. And your journey is to reach me. Okay? Now, that back wall behind you represents your past. So I want everybody to turn around. Because you're facing your past. You're facing how things used to be. You're facing old habits. But I'm your goal and you really want to achieve me. You really want to reach me. And so as you're facing your past, I want you to make your journey towards me. How many of you can reach me without turning around?
I
Not too many, huh? Not too many. So how does that work in your life? If you are carrying around this luggage and you're carrying around your delimiters, your dream limiters, if you're carrying around old habits, how do you achieve your goal? If not by taking a chance and breaking away and breaking out of your baggage. You can go ahead and have a seat. Thank you for that, because you all looked at me like I was crazy. But you all knew that these chairs were here, right? So it's the concept of looking forward. We must look forward in our lives. God put eyes in the front of our head so we can see where we're going and not where we've been. Our journey is all about the unknown. And sure, it might seem fearful because we don't know. But if we have trust and if we have faith, we only have to take one step at a time. You don't have to jump in with 2 feet. You don't have to run towards it. The idea is to make it. And we can all do that. Can't we? We can all do that. We can all make choices. And we talk about happiness. I'm a big proponent of happiness. Today's World Laughter Day, by the way. So it's all about laughter.
Oh.
And that's what I teach. But yeah, Google World Laughter Days today. We make the choice to be happy. We can all be happy. We can all laugh. We don't need a sense of humor to laugh. We don't need to see something funny or hear something funny. We can just laugh. We all know how, right?
Yeah.
Has anybody taught you how to laugh? No. We did it since we knew how to breathe, basically. And the beautiful thing about laughter is that it's a universal language, one of God's languages, similar to how love is and happiness is, and so is laughter. And I can say that because no matter where you are in the world, laughter means laughter. It's not a language, it's a universal gift, and we all can carry that within us. I'll make sure I got all my points here. Another way to think about our happiness is to understand that our life experiences are meant to teach us and not define us. Our life lesson is meant to teach us. So we might be going through some very challenging and difficult times, but it teaches us our character, it teaches us our faith, it teaches us closer to who we are. It doesn't define who we are. Illnesses, how many people, I've done a lot of support groups and spoke at a lot of groups for cancer patients. And so many people say, I am cancer. I am, you fill in the blank. How powerful are those two little words that say I am, and we fill it in with something negative. I am sad. I am depressed. Okay? Or you identify yourself with your crisis. A bump in your day does not make it a life sentence. So you might be having a difficult and challenging time right now, but it doesn't mean it's going to last for the rest of your life. Make the choices to be healthier and happier. Set your intentions in the morning that says, today I'm going to reach my goal of making one person's day, one total stranger's day, and then you set out to do that. And even if it's holding the door open, even if it's smiling at somebody or buying somebody a cup of coffee, how much different would your day be and would their day be? Would that make you a little bit happier?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I'm just one person. You know, you think about yourself as one person in this world and you can't really make a difference. Did you ever sleep with a mosquito in your room? Okay, so you get the picture? You can be that one difference and you just never know. And then the ripple effect starts to happen. There's a lot to celebrate. There's a lot to not hiding behind these baggages in our lives. All we need to do is go out there and grasp them with two hands and go for it, even if it's one step at a time. And as a final closing,
What about stress?
huh?
What about stress?
What about stress? Do I need to give example? How many of us have a best friend named Stress? It's perception. Remember Forrest and the answers that he gave St. Peter? So if we perceive something as stressful, guess what? It is stressful. If we perceive finance as a stress, or health as a stress, or relationships as a stress, then what does it become? Stress. Again, it's all about the choices that we make and our perception of it. Am I saying this is going to be easy? Not at all. We have a whole lifetime to perfect it. The fact is, you can't give up. You can't surrender. You've got every new day to start once again. Every day you wake up, a new chance to make a difference, a new chance to reach your goal, a new chance to start and take steps towards whatever it is you want in your life and who you want to be. And that is the biggest gift of all. So, I said earlier how we got eyes in front of our heads so we can see where we're going. So it's facing life, it's forward motion. And I mentioned before with the eyes, there's two other areas that I think are kind of cool that also reiterate that concept. When you're driving in the car, the windshield is a lot bigger than the rear view mirror. So it's about looking forward. It's about those things in front of us and not behind us. The tissue company also got into that. This tissue is meant for the front. Notice how big it is? This tissue is meant for the back. You choose. So I hope this made your day. Thank you all for allowing me to be here.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Daphne, for